Going to give everyone a second to join in. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. All righty. So welcome to today's webinar, Growing Your Business Organically Through Facebook with MAPS coach Dina Watson. Please note this webinar is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours after this webinar has ended on the MAPS Group YouTube channel. You may find the link to the YouTube channel in your Zoom confirmation email, and we will also drop it in the chat momentarily. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the chat box located in the taskbar at the bottom of your screen. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me, Dina. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thanks for your grace the other day. Honestly, I ended up with a really bad migraine that had me on the couch on the beach, which is terrible because I'm on vacation. So it was very interesting, and I appreciate you guys' grace in moving this so that I didn't have to show up and barely be able to speak to you. So happy Thursday. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about social media, specifically Facebook. However, I do want to let you know before we start that the principles that we're going to talk about today could easily be used for Instagram or even kind of reimagined for TikTok or whatever other Facebook or social media profile you guys might be using. So even though this says social media, we are going to focus heavily on Facebook and Instagram. However, if you guys have another platform, you could easily take these concepts and move them over. As we go through the class today, when we get to the end, I will pull myself out of full screen where my screen is shared, and I will answer the questions you guys have. So if you have questions, make sure you pop them in the chat box and I will get to them at the end. So a little bit about me. I am still a producing agent with a team at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which is where the military has taken my husband and I. I also have another team at Fort Campbell in the Nashville metro area outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Our team does sell over 100 homes every single year. This year, collectively, we'll get over the 300 mark, which is super exciting to me, as I'm sure all of you can imagine. My husband is a Green Beret, and I only tell you guys that because I've had to restart my business 3 times in the last 6 years. And when I say restart, I mean a new license, a new state. I don't know anyone. I don't know the roads. Luckily, we've been able to keep my team going at our home base and keep moving around. But I tell you that because Facebook and some of the things I'm going to talk to you about today has given me the ability to start over every single time we have to move. So it's definitely an interesting life, an interesting concept to business. And I hope to bring some of that knowledge to you guys today if you're new here or if you're just trying to reinvent yourself. My first year here, where this class is coming from or where this webinar comes from is my first 12 months when we moved to North Carolina. Didn't know a soul, didn't have a team, didn't have an admin. I basically was a new person in a new city. And through some of the concepts I'm going to teach you today, was able to sell 50 properties using Facebook, spending zero money. Yes, zero, not even one single penny in my first 8 months in a brand new market. I'm also a MAPS mastery coach. I teach people one-on-one, social media enthusiast. I have a really cute 4-year-old boy, not that that matters to you, and I would prefer dogs over cats. So that's a little bit about me. If you want to find me, the best way to get in touch with me after this is going to be on Facebook. As all of you do, I get 100,000 emails a day from everyone wanting to sell me everything. And so I don't want your message to get missed. My name is spelled D-E-A-N-A. Watson is my last name. And the picture is a little bit different, but something similar to this is what you would see if you went to find me on Facebook. There are 2 accounts. One of them will say Mastery Coach at MAPS. That's the one you want. All right, so we're going to walk through this in steps, okay? Step 1, we're going to talk about branding. And I'm going to go into in a second why I think branding is the most important place to start. So even if you guys have a brand already, as we go through this, I want you to think about how strong it is. Is it something that you would recognize or people would recognize no matter where you went? Is it something that if they were in the car or on the computer would look the same to them? We're going to go through some of that here in a second. But for 5 goals that we're going to have for today's class, before we get into that, I want to express how urgent it is for you guys to brand yourselves on social media and why it even matters. I'm going to do the best I can to strip away, as I say, all the sexiness around social media and give you some of the actual real reasons why this is a thing that you need to pay attention to. Number two, I'm going to explain the how behind the why. I know you get on these webinars and just like today, they're short and you get told how to do it or why to do everything and no one tells you how. Today, I'm going to make sure that you get some of the how behind the why. Next, I'm going to give you 5 Facebook ad concepts that work no matter what year you do them. These are 5 tried and true things that you should be doing on a regular basis to keep different parts of your business with a spotlight on them. Next, we're going to talk about the business page versus the personal page and why that even matters, what is the goal for each one, and some tips for each. And then I'm going to give you an actionable daily task to grow your social media presence. I'm going to go ahead and give that to you though, because I want you to start with that. I know it's number 5. We're going to start with that at the beginning. So people have asked, how do you keep yourself on track? How do you keep yourself on track with talking to all these people, sending out all these messages? And I kind of stole this from someone else. I think it was Lisa Archer, who is also an awesome person in our company. And she used to teach the 5 by 5 by 5 strategy. So 3 5s in a row, 5 times 5 times 5. And what that means is it's a daily practice, Monday through Friday, or if you want to be extra, you could go Sunday to Sunday. It's totally up to you. But the 5 by 5 by 5 concept is that every single day, you're going to write 5 personal messages. And if you're not writing this down, you probably should, because you're going to ask me later, what was it in the chat box? So I'm going to give everybody a second to realize they should be writing 5 personal messages. And it could be about anything. Don't cop out and do birthdays though, you guys. Happy birthday is the easiest thing you could possibly do. It's also the most meaningless because everyone else is doing it. So find a different reason. Next, you're going to join or participate in 5 different local groups. Or if you're looking for agent to agent referrals, 5 different groups for realtors, whatever your concept is here. If you don't have any that you have already participated in, you would join a few and participate in a few. And what that could mean is that you join a group from local moms or local workouts, and you actually go in and talk to the people. You offer help, give advice. You are not selling real estate here. Okay, this is not a program every day where you're going to sell real estate. This is a program or a concept. The 5 by 5 by 5 is the concept on how to connect with people. This has nothing to do with real estate. This has to do with the social part of social media. It is the part most forgotten and the most important part, right? The last 5 is you're going to make a comment on 5 people's news feeds, 5 different people than the messages. I'm going to give you a tip on how you can combine this with your database, okay? If you want to be purposeful with this and you want to use social media to connect with the people you already know, right? Go on your Facebook page in your friends list. You can create sub lists within that group of friends and you can name them different things like past clients, friends from high school, I don't know, vendors, whatever you want. And you can go in to where the friend tab is on everyone's news feed that you're friends with, and you can add them to a list. Once you've added them to a list, when you sit down to do this every day, segregate out that one or segment out that one particular list of your friends list. Like let's say it's past clients. Every day for 30 minutes, you sit in front of your computer, you click the button that says past clients list in your friends list. So we have a big list here, then we have a little one here. You're going to click on that and all you will see are the people on that list. You're not going to see everybody's brother, sister's cousin who's on vacation right now. You're going to see your clients, your past clients, your sphere who's on vacation right now. Then take that 5 by 5 concept and use it on them. This is going to make you top of mind on their Facebook page. It's going to hack the algorithm a little bit to show that you guys are more important to each other than you actually have been, right? And it's going to allow you to stay on top of the Ford family, occupation, recreation, dreams items that people put on Facebook. So when you make those calls, you have something to talk about. So I've talked for a second. I'm going to call a timeout and I'm just going to rewind for a minute. The 5 by 5 by 5 concept can work anywhere. However, if you want to use it for your database and not to meet strangers, you can turn that into the way that you market to and talk to your database by segmenting them into a list. Then you use that list to only see what those people are doing and have conversations created around things that they're already talking about. So if you have questions about it, pop it in the chat box. If you have a specific how-to question on that, send me a message and I'll send you a video. All right, so we're going to talk back where we were a second ago about branding. What specific are the components to a great brand? Now think about things like Starbucks, Coca-Cola, Apple. I don't know, I'm looking for a brand in the room I'm in. Anything, right? Yeti. There's a Yeti in front of me. So the components that a great brand all have are these 6 clearly defined things. So as I'm talking about this, I want you to feel out yourself and think about, do you actually have these things? If you don't have all of them, that's okay. Write them down, think about them later. Number 1, an identifiable logo. So do you have a logo? And when I say identifiable, I don't mean do you have a logo that you don't share with anyone? Do you have a logo that people who come to you would notice? There's a difference here. If you have a really cute logo on a pop socket on the back of your phone or on something in your office, that's not identifiable to the public. So do you have a logo that's identifiable to people who know you? Next, do you have an identifiable set of colors? There's an interesting concept here that I want you guys to look at later on your own time that we will talk about. If you choose to take the full class with me later on next week, we'll talk about this in depth. But in general, there's something called the psychology of color. I want you to write it down and go look at it later, geek out on it if you want to. But basically, the psychology of color talks about how certain brands have chosen certain colors because it subconsciously tells a consumer something that they didn't realize in their head. For example, the color blue is known to make people actually thirsty. This is a psychological thing that happens to all of us that we can't control. The colors orange and red tend to make people more hungry. It creates a sense of urgency. So think about fast food places that you pass. How many of them have the various colors orange, red, or yellow? Almost all of them. Almost all of them have either orange, red, or yellow as their primary color. And the question I've always wondered is why? And when I started researching branding, I realized that the colors orange, red, and yellow actually create hunger in your stomach. It's weird. So when you're choosing your colors for your brand, you want to make sure that whatever subconscious message is coming to your consumer matches the type of brand that you have. Okay. I know that that's a little detailed. When you read it later on your own time, you'll start to get some creative juices flowing. But for an example, if blue is the preferred color of men, you're not going to put your logo in pink if your target audience is male. It could even be as simple as that. Next, every great brand has a clearly defined promise. So I always use this example because it's the easiest one to understand. Patagonia, which some of you know, some of you might not, but Patagonia has a promise to their consumers. Their slogan is "Get outside," right? They want us to go explore the world. That's why they sell the things that they do. They sell kind of what you would consider a sporting goods store on steroids, right? Now, where do you see that promise coming true? On the largest shopping day of the year, which is Black Friday. On Black Friday, Patagonia actually closes its stores. And if you visited one of the stores, on the door or on the website, it would say, "Get outside." Quit being inside and shopping. Go out and explore the world. So it's something that is all the way through. True and true for Patagonia. Their promise is that they want to do everything they can to get people outside. If they were to stay open on Black Friday, they would be going against that promise, right? People are off. It's the holiday. Spend time together. Get outside. So what is the clear brand promise that you have for your consumers? The next one, every great brand, that's hard to say. Blah, blah. Every great brand has an identifiable target market. Now, I know you might think you know what yours is, but I want you to go a little bit deeper when you think through this. For an example, I'm in a military community. I could have easily said, I serve the military. I do. But what I also do more specifically, my husband is in the special operations section of the military. What I started to notice was that the people joining my team, the people we were getting as referrals, all came from that community. So I could either just be blind to that, or I could say, you know what we actually do? We actually primarily serve the special operations community of the United States Army. Now, I could also go a little bit deeper than that. We actually spend most of our time catering towards the spouses of those people, because the spouses of those people are the ones that are attracted to us, because we are the spouses of those people. So instead of saying, here's my target audience, I said, here's my audience, here's the specific niche of my audience, and here's the actual person I'm looking for. Because if you're marketing to everyone, you're going to get no one. Write that down. If you're marketing to everyone, you're going to catch no one, because no one knows you're talking to them. Whatever your message says to your target audience, they need to feel like you're speaking directly to them, as you might have done in your past when there's a message on a podcast or you're sitting in church and you're like, am I the only one here? Right? Next.
Remember.
And if you have a hot mic, can you mute yourself? That would be great. Thank you. Next, every target audience or every great brand has design consistency. And what that means, that is what I see real estate agents violating the most. Your sign is different than your logo. Your logo is different and your sign is different than your email signature. All of that is different than your business cards. And your headshot is the same as it was 20 years ago. We all need to get everything that we do. If you want to have great branding so that you can be found on social media, everything that you do needs to look the same, needs to feel the same. Okay. Last and most importantly, you have to have a strategy on how all of those things are going to reach and communicate with your target audience. Okay. We're going to move on from this. Simply put, branding is the promotion of a certain product or service by the way of advertising it. You guys, you are the product here. A lot of you get caught up in thinking that you sell real estate. You don't sell real estate. You sell yourself. Now, don't snicker. I know that sounds weird. We are not in the business of selling real estate. We are in the business of selling ourselves to clients. Every single person on this call, if they were licensed in your state, could sell every single home you think is your inventory. You are the product here, you guys. Every one of us can sell the same home. Heck, you don't even need a real estate license to buy or sell a home. Anybody can do it. We're not paying attention to the most important thing, ourselves. Branding is more than your logo. It's also the story. It's also the filters that you use. It's all of those things that add up to where when you are on social media, people notice you. And I know that y'all are thinking, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because there's a noisy world out there in the world of social media. And you have to figure out, how do you stand out? How do you be noticed over and over and over and over and over again, so that when someone finally comes back to look for you, there it is. They see it. They remember it. It's something they saw over and over again. Think about it. Colors and pictures have a higher chance of recall than words. That's just science. That's not my opinion. Psychologically proven. So if you don't have the same set of colors, the same set of visuals, like your logo and the everything around it, you become harder to find. And there are a lot of realtors in your community, right? Everyone's in real estate right now because it's easy. It's easy. So make sure you're not doing that to yourself. Allow your consumers to find you. Same thing with the NAR stat. Only 17% or so of people would use their realtor again. It's not because they didn't like you. It's because they don't remember who you were. And if you're always changing everything that you do and you never land on anything that's recognizable, they're always going to forget you because they don't remember your name, right? They don't remember your brand. They don't remember your team. They don't remember any of it because they've seen 17 different designs. They've seen 32 different business cards come through. That's our fault. We have to stop doing that. The most important reason why I'm talking and harping on branding is because it allows consumers to find you. And if they find you, they can use you to buy or sell a home. If they don't know where you went, you've kind of lost them and you spend all that money and time getting them in the first place. All right, step 2. So step 1 was all the things about branding. Step 2, we're going to talk about defining the message you're sending out to your audience. In order to be able to effectively deliver your message on social media, you really need to know who you're talking to. The more you can define who your person is, like I went from military to military spouse, the better your engagement is going to be. So how many of you, and don't unmute yourself because that would just be chaos on here, but you can raise your hand or pop it in the chat box. How many of you post things on social media and get zero engagement quite frequently? You can either raise your hand or pop it in the chat box. Yeah, a lot of you are raising your hand. Okay. The reason that you are doing that, or that is happening to you, is because you don't know who you're talking to. If you don't know who you're talking to, they can't know you're talking to them. Okay. So think about the things that people in the target market that you are in, or the audience that you have, or the people you want to work with, people call it a niche. Think about what they want real quick. And I'm going to stop talking so you guys can think. The people you have, for me, the military wife, right, or spouse, what is it that that person wants from you? Now, before you start writing, do not write down the best deal on a home in the least amount of time in the most convenient way possible. Do not write that down. I'm gonna keep you from doing a disservice to yourself. I'm gonna give you a minute to think about it. What does your target audience or your target clientele, and notice I said target, not whoever comes your way, but your ideal person. What is it that they want from you? And I do want you to write it down. If you're driving, just think about it. Please don't start writing. Write it down. If you want to pop it in the chat box, go ahead and do that. What is it that they want from you? And I'll give you my example here in a little bit. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute to write. What do they want from you? They don't need homes from you. They can see that on Zillow or Realtor.com or your KW app or anywhere else. It's more than that, you guys. What is it that they want from you? I'll give you my example in just 1 second. All right, so here's my example. If my target was the military, what the military would want from me, the service person, would be different than what my clientele actually wants. So my clientele is the military spouse most of the time, right? Or a friend of my husband's or someone similar, but there's somebody in the special operations community that come to us that need help. And what we thought people wanted was what I told you not to write down: the best deals. Give me a deal. Give me the off-market property. Give me that kind of stuff. While they do want that, I'm not saying they don't. While they do want that, what they want that they can only get from you is something entirely different. Now, for us, we realized that in our community, people aren't from here. They don't have family. They don't have friends they can call when there's an emergency. If their kid is sick or needs a doctor, they don't have the 20 years they've lived there as experience to who to go to. These people are totally transient, right? And so what the military spouse wanted from us was someone who could take care of her when no one else could, or him. Most often it's a her for us, though. The other thing they wanted was for us to help them build a community of people. So we introduce our clients to each other. Hey, you guys all just moved here the last 30 days. Have at it. Have fun. Build friendships. We do client events where we get everyone's families to come together and do certain things where people can meet one another. They want us to connect them to the community, not just sell them a home. Okay. Being able to know who that person is key, because when we do our blogs or our messaging, it's all through the filter and the lens of how do we connect them with everything else, right? If I thought it was the service member, that would be totally different. It's not. My third level deep is that it's the spouse or the family, and they need connection. But if you're having a hard time defining who your audience is or what the messaging should be, think about how old are they? What are their interests or hobbies? What's their job, right? Where do they go to work? What's their socioeconomic status? If I had my background off, I'm at a beach house on the beach right now. And I'll tell you, the people out there surfing or sailboating or whatever they're doing, they have a lifestyle interest that if I was a realtor here, I would plug in to the lifestyle of living in this condo that I'm in, not the condo. The condo is not the product. The lifestyle is what they should be selling for this particular area. That's why when you see people who are doing videos for listings in California on the coast or somewhere else, they're selling what it's like to live there, not the place. Okay. Now I'm going to take a time out for just a second on this, because I think sometimes we can get lost in messaging, what to say, what not to say. And I want to bring something to your awareness before you keep going and start making all these posts. There's something called a hot button issue. If you're a political major like I am, you will know what that means. But if not, basically what it means is where something happens, where there's a conversation had that either someone falls on the left or the right hand category here. So hot button issues are traditionally things like politics, religion, sexual orientation, human welfare topics like abortion, gun control, or feminism, any kind of isms, right? Those can all be considered really dangerous places to step unless you're willing to go all in there. So I'm telling you this because as you're selling this and you're posting, you could get the idea that you also want to post those types of things because that's what you believe in, right? I will encourage you to either mute it down if you're wanting to have a very large audience on social. I don't want you to mute yourself, right? I want you to figure out how's a way that you can have these conversations in a non-controversial way, because remember, people are either on the left or the right. And if you're building a brand and you're building yourself up on social media, one bad post here could knock the whole thing to the ground. I have a degree in politics from a higher education, right? I don't post about stuff like that. I have firm beliefs, of which people who know me know, but I've chosen not to air that out on social because my brand can't weather it. Not me. My brand can't weather it. I don't want to do that to myself. And think about it. If your brand was Coca-Cola or Apple or whatever, most of the time those CEOs abstain from all of that type stuff because there is an unintended consequence. However, there's another side to the coin, right? Any of these things could also be considered a niche or niche. For some people call it a niche. I call it a niche. I'm from the South. A niche market could be that you want to work primarily with people who believe the way that you do. So you either need to stay away from it or you need to go all in with it, is my personal opinion. There's a young lady, I tell this story every one of these because it's just amazing and I'm glad she did it. There's a young lady that I work with in MAPS coaching one-on-one who took this class. And she came to me after the class and she's like, you know, I really want to rebrand myself, but I'm afraid that there's a hot button issue in my brand and I don't want to deter people from using me. We talked it out. She was the owner and still is of a gun store. She very much believed in your right to bear arms and your right to do all of the things around that, right? She did not want to isolate people who didn't believe that way. So we talked about it for a little bit and I said, okay, what would happen if you actually just went all in on this? You rebranded yourself to be that way. And I'll be happy to tell you that she's got more business now than she ever has. She decided instead of making it a hot button issue, she would go all in. She now teaches home defense seminars instead of home buyer seminars. She rebranded herself as On Target Realty with an actual target on it. And she does all of the things that feel true to herself, and her business is thriving. The reason I put this slide in here is I want you guys to know that you are a business. As you are posting all of these things that are inflammatory, that you're, getting people riled up, you're hurting your own business unless, and I don't mean your sales, I mean the brand, right? You could be tarnishing your brand or your reputation if you're not careful or unless you go all in. Okay, so we'll get off of that for now because I think I kind of beat the dead horse, but you can use that as a niche market to where you literally go all in with that kind of stuff. And you just have to understand that people who don't believe the way you do won't use you. And if you're okay with that, do what she did. It's working well for her. The next thing I get is, okay, I have my audience. I know who I'm talking to. I know my messaging. Now, what's the best or worst time to post or talk to them, right? Simply put, you guys, the best time to post, if you don't post already, is whenever you can, right? Don't get caught up in all of that stuff. Traditionally, though, if you're experienced at this and you want to take it to another level, weekdays between 1 and 4 p.m. get the highest click-through ratings. And normally, sometime around 3 p.m. throughout the week is the overall peak of activity. The worst times, of course, for obvious reasons, are before 8 a.m. and after 8 p.m. on the weekends because people are asleep or they're not paying attention to Facebook. All right, so step 1 was branding. Step 2 is defining who you want to talk to and what the messaging is. Step 3 is going to be marketing it. So I'm going to talk to you guys pretty quickly about ads. There are 5 common social media ads that I think all real estate agents should be posting all the time. Now, if you don't want to sell it and put money behind the ad, You can just make these as regular posts on your newsfeed or your business page and move on with life, okay? Number one, I want you to think about which option you want to go with. Do you want to use your social media page as a place where you just create awareness, or do you want to buy leads by placing ads? Each one of these different ads is going to serve a different purpose or a different function. The next thing I want to make sure that you all understand is that people buy things based on emotion, right? Most people purchase things based on emotion. Some people do logic, but there's still an emotion attached in some of that stuff. This goes back to the bold law. Logic makes you think, emotion actually makes you act. So when you're telling the stories or writing these ads, don't just throw out random words. Think about what's the story behind the advertisement or behind the purpose for the ad, right? And make sure that you're able to tell a story inside the ad to compel people to do something with you. Ad number one is going to be the sale ad. This is our traditional just listed, just sold ads. I know I told you to stop posting and your listings aren't the product, and they're not, but there still is a place for them on your social media page. But take it on a different twist. Stop just posting the house and post the story or the family behind it. The goal here is that people understand that you produce real estate sales, right? Like you actually help people move. But consider instead of just posting just listed or just sold, creating a narrative around what it took to sell that home. So I'll give you an example, which is here on the bottom. Sometimes the job I do becomes so much more than selling homes. Mr. and Mrs. whoever were in a crunch and called me after they decided to step into home ownership. The road was rocky, but blah, 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 blah. That's so much better than just sold. You're talking to people about a family that needed help, that was in a time crunch. Things were hard, and you still figured out how to pull out a win, right? So take the just listed, just sold ads that you do and dress them up a little bit. If you need help with this, I would really highly suggest that you read the book or listen to the audiobook, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. It is fantastic. It talks about how there are 7 key components to any story, whether that be in sales or otherwise, and it walks you through what those are. And when you turn around and figure out how to tell a story through your ads, your whole world will change. I will promise you that. Facebook ad number 2, the CMA ad. If you'd like to know what your home is worth type ads, these are easy. We see these all the time, but I want to let you know what the goal here is. The goal here is not to place ads that get listings right now. I'm going to say it again. The goal here is not to place ads that give you listings right now. Now, that's what we think it is. That is definitely what it's not. The goal here is for you to find a pile of people who have raised their hand and wanted to know what their home is worth in case they had someone buy it. They want to know what it would be worth. When you're doing these, you also can create a list of, some states don't allow this, right? So just make sure you're paying attention, but you could create a list of pocket listings that you have in your back pocket. When the buyer comes around, that person you already know will sell. They just don't want to put it on the market. Consider this also, you guys, as you're doing the home valuation ad, add a different component where people can get on Zoom just like this with you for 15 minutes so you can make it more personal and go over their home value. Use some sort of service like timeshare or Calendly, CALEND.ly, and allow them to schedule a meeting with you on your calendar for a 15-minute Zoom consult. Think about it like this. If you did 4 of those a week, you would have 16 soft listing appointments a month. Do you think out of 16, you could pull out a couple of listings you never would have had? I guarantee you could. Guarantee you could. Think about that too. What is 16 times 12? 16 a month times 12 months in a year. You guys, I don't even know the math, and I'm not pulling out a calculator, but I know it's over 144 because 12 times 12 is 144. You're talking close to 200 listing appointments a year, 15 minutes at a time. 15 minutes at a time. Create a Facebook ad around a CMA, offer them a Zoom. Next, we're going to go into the FOMO ad, fear of missing out. The goal here is to capitalize on the human needs to be in the know about things. Tell the story of your clients. Tell how you found them a diamond in the rough. Tell them how you found a deal off market. People want to know how to get involved in that. They have a fear of missing out. This pulls on the emotional side of things, allows people to reach out to you as well. Number 4, the review ad. Some of you get reviews, and I have a few of you on my Facebook page. So I see you do this. You take a screenshot of the Zillow review and you just post it. Don't do that anymore, right? Take that, pop that into designs on Command or Canva if you use Canva, and use it to show off to potential clients what other people think about you and brand it to yourself. People will always do business at a higher level with those who have had experiences before them. This is the same thing we do when we want to go to a restaurant. The other day, we're here at the beach. We were looking where to go. And this restaurant had decent reviews. And when I started looking at the reviews, I realized people were getting food poisoning a month ago. I ain't going there. No. However, the last 30-day reviews for the other restaurants that said that things were great, we went there instead. We are within walking distance of that other restaurant. And looking at a review deterred me from going somewhere I already knew I was going to go. You guys, we all do this. It's no different in real estate. Also, if you run this as an ad or if you just continue to post it, you'll allow people who haven't used you yet to see a glimpse of how much you go above and beyond for others. All right, Facebook ad type 5, the COVID or virtual ad. Now, I don't really personally care everyone's thoughts about COVIDs or vaccinations. We're not going to talk about that today. But what I do want you to realize, and why I'm bringing this ad up, is because people are talking about it all the time. When my husband just left to take my kid to the pool, he was talking to his friend about vaccines and COVID. And we've been talking about this forever. I just want to beat my head against the wall, right? But it's still one of the hottest searched topics on the internet. You know where you find a lot of your clients? On the internet. So if you haven't rebranded the things that you guys do to help in a COVID crazy world or in a world of virtual showings, you really should think about how you could tell your audience the experience that you give people when buying or selling homes with COVID safety protocols, COVID safety whatever, virtual blah, blah, blah. These are buzzwords that when you put them into your social or when you put them into your website or your blogs, they rank higher right now because more people are searching for that. Sarah Reynolds, who is a really successful agent in our Keller Williams ecosystem, shared this when COVID first started. They changed their listing presentations to talk about COVID. Their marketing online talked about COVID. Their ISAs talked about COVID. They just went all in and said, in a hashtag COVID environment, here's what we do for you. Make sure that whatever you're typing in is searchable, and realize, you guys, no matter our personal feelings about what's going on right now, if we're, upset or if we're scared or whatever, people are talking about the word COVID. So if as a business, we aren't addressing what we do in a COVID environment and we're not talking about it and using the word COVID, we're missing out on some of the searchability that we could have right now. Okay. So this is your 1.5 minute warning. If you have any questions that I haven't answered, put them in the chat box and we'll go over them as I see them come up. But I do want to tell you about the program that we run through MAPS. We do this 4 times a year and it's about to launch next Tuesday, actually. It's called 50 Facebook Sales in 50 Weeks. I am the coach for that. It is 8 weeks long. It is recorded. So if you miss a session, you're more than welcome to go back and watch it. You have all of the recordings and the materials for 2 months after it's over. So if you have any kind of desire to continue on with this, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I can give you some more specifics. I'm also going to put the specifics up here in just a second. You by no means have to do this, of course. We're not twisting your arm to do more on social, but if you choose to, this is an 8-week program where you're going to learn more tools and strategies like what we just talked about on how to build your brand on social media to a booming source of predictable business for you, where right now it may not be that even flow all the time. Session layout, every single session is at the same time. It's Tuesdays at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, which for those of you in Central Time is 12:30 all the way back to, there's a million of you on here, so I'm not going to guess all your time zones, but it's at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays for 8 weeks in a row. Of course, we will skip the week of Mega Camp and add a week at the end. And just to give you an idea, if you have any questions throughout the program, you can reach out to me. We also have a Facebook group for people who have gone through this class. So you can ask whatever questions you have there. And if you're interested in signing up for it, here's the info on your screen. Take a screenshot. It is $198 for 8 weeks. And if you want to sign up today, just go to mapscoaching.com/group. If you have no desire to sign up for this free webinar, obviously, I hope I helped you in some way, get a little more information than you had before you came here. But just think about it, you guys. If you used one thing and you sold one house, I don't know about you, but that would be probably 20 times my money from the program. So it's also a tax write-off. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of this screen and I'm going to answer the questions in the chat box. But if you have any questions about the actual program, the full-blown one, please let me know through the Facebook chat or whatever you want to do. All right, so here we go, all the way back up to the top. Do you get a recording of this session? Yes, it is also on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and type in MAPS Group Coaching, the sessions, we all do these. So there are about 15 of us group coaches where we do group classes. All of these webinars are recorded over there. So you can watch this and a whole bunch of other stuff. Angel actually also put it in the chat box, and I'll re-add that down here for you right now so that you can see it. And then I'll move on to the next thing. I'm really impressed my kid didn't bust up in here like, Mom. I was surprised it didn't. Can these lists be created on Instagram as well? Not the same way as Facebook, Brittany. I was going to ask this. Okay. I've created a team and we are a family-ran business. The motto is from our family to yours, getting to the heart of your real estate needs. I really want to fine-tune the motto. Any suggestions would be great. Sherry, if you could send me a text, and I'm going to put my cell phone number in here as well in the chat box. If you could send me a text, I don't have anything to write with and I can't remember phone numbers to save my life. So my phone number is in the chat box if any of you have questions. All right, anything? I work for a group. Do you mean personal logo or a group logo? Well, if you don't have a team, I would say you create a personal logo that you keep with you for a long time. If you are having any intention on forming a team, I would say put some thought into that right now so you don't have to rebrand yourself when you actually do become a team. You did mention that you would tell us how to connect your business page versus personal page. Any tips for that? Yep, I'll go over that in just 1 second. Actually, I'll stop and do it now in case any of you want to hop off. So basically, you guys, there's a difference between your business page and your personal page in how well you're going to be able to pull business into your sales funnel. So whenever you're like learning about something like this, about social media, the most effective place for you to snag sales, like actual sales, we're talking not leads, but real live sales, is your personal Facebook page. Think about your business page as more of the bus bench or the sign above the freeway. No one's actually calling you from that. I'm going to say no one. They're not. They're not slowing their car down to write down your phone number on a billboard. What they are doing is being reminded that you're still there. So your business page is a reminder that you're there. Your business page is a place that when people want to go scope you out, they can see that you do exist and that you actually perform a really good service and you have reviews. They're not buying real estate from you by only randomly landing on your business page. Now, does it happen? Absolutely. We've had it a couple of times. But 9 times out of 10, the people doing business with you are people you're engaging with on a personal level. This is why it's called social media, not media or anything else it could be called. I'm just not feeling creative today. So make sure that when you guys are thinking about, should this go on my personal page or my business page? Everything can go on your business page, right? Everything, your just sold stuff, your promotion stuff, but think about your business page as a promotional place. You're not connecting, you're not selling anything there. You can't really have a very great two-way conversation there. Take it to your personal side. This is where people get to see the fact that you are a real human, right? Like I have people all week because I've been posting pictures of my kid and my family, like making comments about how absolutely nuts my child is. He has quite the large personality, but people are connecting with me over the fact that I share my life. I share that we're at the beach. There was a house that burned down like half a mile down the road last night. It was kind of scary. We shared that. All kinds of crazy stuff going on in the world. I share that. That allows me to be a relatable human being. So your business page is a place where you're going to promote yourself. Your personal page is a place you're going to sell yourself. There's a small difference there. Hopefully that helped. Do you utilize Facebook ads through command? Yes. So we actually do place ads through command. We also place them just specifically onto Facebook because of the retargeting ability through Facebook. But we have done ads through command quite a bit because it's cheaper. What's the name of the app that schedules Zoom calls? So you can schedule anything, and it's called Calendly, CALEND.LY, kind of like calendar, but Calendly. We, at MAPS, we use that when someone says they need to reschedule a call. We just send them the link and it tells them what spots are available on my calendar. They pick whatever they want and it just goes straight on my calendar. So you can do that for your business as well, not just for Facebook. If you're not yet branded or know your audience, is the class something we can use? Yes. So in there, we actually talk in depth on how to figure that out. So absolutely. Okay. I think I'm good to go. Oh, what's the author's name? Donald Miller. Someone else saved me. Thank you, Elizabeth. If you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, they're not on here or I can't see them, send me a message on social media. And I hope all of you guys got something out of this. I will also be emailing all of you this recording once I see it go up on the YouTube channel, probably tomorrow. But I trust you all learned something. Have a really amazing Thursday. Hopefully I stay unsunburned. As you can tell, I should not be at the beach without sunscreen. So hopefully I stay okay. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you next week and see some of you at Mega Camp.